Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of your favorite community show. You've tuned into Veeam 100 Show, episode 16, and we've got an exciting discussion for you today. And of course, I am not alone. I'm joined by some fantastic expert guests in here. So joining me today, I have Stephen, who's a dedicated Veeam 100 member and part of the Vanguard program. You know my vote goes to you, Stephen, always. And I have Joe, a top MVP, a brilliant solution architect at Veeam, and a returning guest on the show. This is not his first time, I believe second time already. And I have Karine, our fantastic technologist from the product strategy team. I believe, Karine, you hosted this in 2024, if I'm not wrong, right?
Absolutely. Happy to be back.
Great to have you back. And I am Madalina Cristil, and I'm streaming to you from Bucharest, Romania, while my guests are in the USA. But let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? We'd love to hear from you. And it is really great to have the three of you with me in this show today. And it's great to have our audience supporting our show as well. Now, let's just get things rolling. And I'm going to ask Stephen and Joe and Karine to, start with a quick introduction. So if you could just share a few things about yourself, starting with Stephen, because this is your first time in our show. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So my name is Stephen New. I'm the Director of Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery at Dataprise. I've been a Veeam Vanguard. This is my fourth year now. Super excited to be part of the Veeam Vanguard and the Veeam 100 programs. And just excited to be here on this webinar today with you.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, hi, my name's Joe Vermillion. I am a Senior Solutions Architect for Veeam Software, but I am also a Veeam MVP, which is basically we're an internal Vanguard. And Madalena, I am super excited to be here. I just absolutely love being on these shows with you.
Thank you. Great to have you. And Karine?
I'm a technologist here at Veeam Software. I specialize in the Microsoft 365 platform, and I'm excited for some of the topics that we get to talk about today in an adjacent side.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Karine. And since this is a community show, as we mentioned, and I always like to ask my guests, to share their role within the community. I know you mentioned you are a Veeam 100, you are, Vanguard, you are an MVP, but what drives your passion for being a part of it? Maybe we can start again with Stephen.
I mean, the technology is what drives my passion. I mean, being able to get in there and play with some of the new technology, beta test it, and make sure that it's good for GA or public launch. So that's what drives my passion, not only with playing with the technology, but being a part of the amazing community that allows us to work directly with the product management team to provide valuable feedback.
Yeah, that's great. Totally. And Joe, what's your passion in here?
It's interesting, Madalena, because I've been a customer since version 3, right? And an employee at Veeam since version 5.5 or so. So it's been a long time. Yeah, I just like making, helping our customers and making sure they're in a good spot. I've been creating all those security blueprints that we've been sharing. I've posted a lot of troubleshooting things that we've come across, helping people, architect the solution. I just like giving back, right? And enjoy the people, enjoy the community, enjoy the technology that we have. That's really my passion.
Yeah, that's great. And I like that giving back, because community is all about giving back, right? So great stuff in there. Karine, you are not an MVP, you are not a Vanguard, you are not a legend, but I know you are part of a bunch of communities. You are an ace. I think you are part of the Microsoft community as well. So what drives your passion for being part of community in general?
I love the way that community educates. So yes, I am a Microsoft MVP. I am an Object First Ace. I am also a VMware V expert. So I kind of hop around to the programs because it really drives community and it drives knowledge in that community that in a consumption way that is for the masses, not just for, marketing or those adjacent types.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, thank you all for that great answers, great perspectives. And you know what? I actually think because we were talking about technology and that Stephen mentioned that his passion is brought by technology. I think our audience is also now ready to talk technology and to hear on today's topic. This is a super hot topic at the Veeam and in general, right? On the market, we've been talking a lot lately about the Veeam Data Cloud, Vault, and how to use it. Today, we're going to talk about how to use it to fortify your data. And you're going to talk a little bit about the resiliency zone and then how to configure, deploy Veeam Vault and talking data migration, secure data storage and some challenges, best practices. So really looking forward for this conversation. So I'm going to just say that kind of the floor is yours. So let's start this great discussion today.
Thank you so much, Madalena. So let's kick it off. Yeah, Veeam Data Vault. Now I'm here to just be your host, but I'm definitely going to kick it off with our experts. And I believe you get us started here, Joe, with that platform side and the high-level architecture.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not familiar with Veeam Data Cloud Vault, it's a hosted repository that Veeam hosts inside of Microsoft Azure, right? And we host it in what we call Veeam Data Cloud, which is our tenant. And then we give each customer a customer vault. So the nice thing about it is it's secured when we deploy it. It's automatically has encryption is turned on and enabled on it, and also the immutability is enabled. So the whole idea is like, let's say you're backing up on premises to a regular hardened repository, you need to get a secondary copy offsite, and you want to make sure that's out of your environment and the secondary location. Maybe it has a different authentication and authorization to get to the vault. It's behind a different network. It's behind different firewalls. So the idea is you take it and you send it off to the cloud, right? So we got a lot of customers who do this. They send this to AWS, they send it to Azure Blob, they send it to wherever, right? So the nice thing about this is they're sending it to a Veeam hosted tenant. We manage it, we maintain the storage account. We also provide the security around it. So this is what we call a resiliency domain, where we separate the security across two different repositories. So if something happens on premises, we still have a copy in the secondary location.
Fantastic. And that on-premises environment is crucial in a lot of architecture, but we need to make sure we're still getting that data off-site. And we've had a lot of conversations. And Steve, I think you kick off this next section with removing some of that on-prem footprint and things, why you should even remove Vault to begin with.
Yeah, thanks, Corinne. So some of the main reasons that you should move to Vault is it allows you to reduce your carbon footprint. So what this allows you to do is get rid of some of the physical servers that you're using for cloud repositories and scale that back. That not only saves cost, data center costs, but it also gets rid of some of the physical servers. Another reason is you have the ability to scale up and scale out quickly. We've all been there where, you sign a big deal, you got to order storage. That's no longer the case with Vault. Vault is able to scale up immediately. So you don't have to worry about managing an Azure storage account because, as Joe mentioned, it goes to the Veeam Vault, which is inside the Veeam tenant. So, and the last thing is it ensures customers follow best practices. We've all been on the call where we've done scoping for customers and none of the data is encrypted. With Veeam Vault, that is no longer the case. Encryption is mandatory. So we can get the customers aligned with Veeam's best practices.
Fantastic. And what about the migration process? Because we have a lot of data still on the on-premises types of environment, and that probably made sense at that time, but what does it look like if it makes sense to move beyond that capacity into a cloud capacity?
Yeah, so the migration to Veeam Vault, basically all the backup archives going to Vault must have encryption turned on at the job level. As I mentioned, that is a requirement. Um, the migrated backup archives must already be encrypted. If encryption is not turned on, then at that point, the best migration alternative is to create a new job, enable encryption, and then just age out your old data. And then just go ahead and send a fresh copy up to Veeam Vault. And then once the data expires in the old location, then at that point it can be removed.
Fantastic. Are there any other reasons why someone might alter or choose to let their data phase out instead of immediately sending their data up to a vault or getting that migrated up?
I mean, what we've seen is just customers. There's really, other than encryption, I mean, some customers have compliance regulations that where they have to keep it only for a certain amount of time. So that's where we see the customers needing to age out their data the most. And then if they have issues or something in that nature, then they can age it out as well. An example is if they migrated to a different hypervisor, which we've seen with the VMware shift, customers going to Hyper-V, Proxmox, so they age out the data that way as well.
That makes a lot of sense. I know you run into this a ton out in the field, Joe. Have you seen some other reasons why people may choose to migrate or choose not to migrate?
Choose to migrate data to Veeam Vault? Yeah, absolutely. And a
Yeah.
lot of people just don't want the headache of having to manage the storage count, right? A lot of times you got a customer who maybe they don't have a huge cloud footprint, and they just don't want to have the headache of having to manage the storage count and keeping up with that data. Also, the nice thing about it is, a lot of these cloud providers charge like API calls. You got to charge for putting data in there. You got to charge for reading data. You got to charge for getting data out of there. The nice thing about Vault is we have a nice flat pricing level, right? So which makes it really simple for anybody who wants to use it. I think some reasons for people who may not want to migrate, maybe they don't want to have a cloud solution, right? They don't have a reason for a cloud, or a lot of times when people are already in a cloud solution, they want to move to Veeam. Let's say for instance they're in a sober environment, Scout repository, and they have data that gets tiered off to cloud. That data has to be archived before we can move it to Veeam, right? And also, if they're already backing up to a cloud or doing backward copies job to there and they want to migrate it over and it's encrypted, it's not encrypted, rather, it's not, we can't migrate it because data moving to Veeam Vault has to be encrypted by default. And there's an immutability setting on there, right? So in cases where you can't move because you don't have the encryption, can't meet the encryption requirement, you'll have to start a new job going into the vault with encryption turned on.
Fantastic. And I know we've done a lot of time talking about this technology, but I'm really excited. We actually have a live demo here. Stephen, do you want to take this over and show off what you have for us?
Sure. So this is going to be the latest version of Veeam. So basically all that we have is we're running Community Edition right now. And to basically add Veeam Vault, it's very simple. All you do is just go to Backup Infrastructure, your repositories. You can right click over here, or you can click Add Repository at the top. Go to Veeam Data Cloud Vault. And then we're going to go ahead and call this Data Prize Test. And then you have the option to enter your credentials manually, or you can go in and authenticate this Veeam server. So I went ahead and authenticated it before this call. So we're going to go ahead and click Manage. It's going to take you to the login. All you have to do is just go to Veeam Data Cloud, choose your Vault option, click on Login, and it's going to automatically bring you to your storage vault. This is Data Prize's test account. It's going to bring you to your dashboard and basically tell you how much storage you're using and how much storage you purchase. It's also going to give you a little graph down here of your overall usage in terabytes throughout the time that you've had the vault. To add a new vault, you just click on the word storage vaults. Then you click add another vault at the top, and then you type in your vault name. So we're going to go ahead and call this Dataprize Test. And then it's going to be Foundation and Foundation Core. And then by default, we're going to go ahead and use the United States and then just click on Next. And then
Now,
keep
it
in
seems
mind
like a
that
really easy process.
it is.
Is this all there is to it?
Yeah, basically that's it. So Veeam Vault is basically built around simplicity. I mean, it's very easy to add to Veeam. And then once you add it to Veeam, you can go ahead and start sending your copies. That's it. It's provisioned. So this is your storage account name. And then this is your access key. So all that we have to do is just copy this data out. And it will add it to it automatically. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this out right quick. And you always want to keep this stuff in a safe place. I always keep my keys and my storage account names. That way I know where it is. So here's my Dataprize test account. So we can go back into Veeam, just click on Next after we choose our vault.
Refresh.
Yeah.
And while
it
we're
takes
waiting
a
on that,
second.
I think we can take a question from the chat here. Sometimes when you're naming all of these vaults, they end up kind of getting mixed up. Are there any recommendations you have around naming these storage accounts? Maybe Joe or Stephen, if you have any recommendations there.
Well, the first recommendation is you probably shouldn't name it repository or something like that, right? Because you don't want to make it obvious to anybody who may be looking looking for where your repositories may be. But use some kind of naming convention that you have that can identify that. But I don't. I've seen people do random names. I've seen people use a naming convention that they have that kind of would point to it, but you don't want to call it Veeam Repository X or something like that because that'll make it available to people who are looking at that. But what I really like about this is when it shows up in your backup repository, this is just an object storage account, right? So then you can go into the home page and you can look through the backup nodes and see the data in there just like you could for any other regular object repository, which I think is really super slick. And then being able to add it here like this is really easy.
Yeah.
Great advice.
So one of the things I just wanted to point out for our viewers, Corinne, is if you notice this make and reset backups immutable for 30 days, this box is checked. You can't uncheck it. So that's the good thing about Veeam Vault is immutability is already built into it, and you don't have the option to go in here and say, "Oops, I accidentally unchecked immutability," because we have to get ahead of any threats because these TAs or threat actors that are out creating these malicious softwares these days, they're trying to get one step ahead of the game, and Veeam is actually above that, and they're one step ahead. So the fact is this has immutability built in that you cannot disable is a win for all parties. So
Fantastic.
that's basically it. Vault is configured on this server, and you can go ahead and start sending your backups right now.
Now, there are a couple of things beyond this that are good need to knows. Let's head back to the PowerPoint deck here, and I believe you take this away for us, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm the architect, right? So I always got to be thinking ahead about things you should know when you get to set up, right? So, the biggest thing here you'll notice is once you set a vault, you notice that it's immutable. Okay, the immutability says it's at 30 days, but you can change that immutability if you need it to, right? So you can adjust it down as low as 7 days, or you can make it as long as you need it. But what I would recommend there is make sure that you keep your retention in mind with immutability, because what you don't want to do is have a retention point of 14 days and a mutable period of 45 days, because now you just made everything 60 days, right? So that's not good. So try to keep your retention policy and your mutability policy lined up when you put it in there. Another thing to remember is by default, we also enforce encryption, right? So when we go to Vault, everything goes up to Vault. It's object, it goes through SSL 443, but when it lands, you have to have encryption enabled by default. And like we said before, when you migrate over, everything has to be encrypted before you migrate it, or when you send it to it, it has to be turned on in the job, right? And the favorite thing I like about this, and everybody doesn't understand, is you can manage the Vault in VBR in the GUI. So you can go and add vaults if you need to. You can go remove a vault if you need. Well, you can't remove a vault, but you can add a vault. You can, rename a vault. You can see your usage, consumption, and all that right through the Veeam GUI. So you don't have to go to the Azure storage account, right, to the Azure GUI and then figure out how to use that thing if you're not familiar with it, right? So it's absolutely fantastic. And then if you need the sizes, the SA team provides a calculator for this. If you go to veeamcalculators.com or veeam.com/calculators, you will see a VDC Vault, a basic calculator for VDC Vault, and we'll have an advanced calculator that you can use for VBR.
Fantastic. And we have one more section, I believe, here around security. Now, I know Veeam recently signed, well, not recently, about a year ago, signed the Secure by Design with the CISA. And I think a lot of these really align to our initiative to put security first, not just ease of deployment first, which you got to find that good balance. And I think we're doing a good job with that here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best thing about Vault, right? It's secure out of the box, right? Secure from the get-go. I know, being an architect, one of our our architectural principles for our team is secure by design, right? So whenever we do a design, we should try to make security, but it helps when you already have a product that's pretty much already secured by default, right? So that even if you set it up, you don't know how to secure it, it's secured. By the way, Corinne, did you know that we have the assertion of that certificate is in the Veeam Threat Center? Right, and I have a link to it here. If you go to just search for Veeam Threat Center, you'll be able to see a listing of all of our certifications, and you can get that assertion for the Secure by Design. Very nice.
Fantastic. Right? Yeah, the Threat Center is one of our, I think, best secret weapons out there. We go through so many processes, and we have an entire dedicated team to just going through these compliance and regulations. And it's not just like a couple of weeks. We go through these for years to get certain certifications, just because it takes that long to put through the paperwork.
Absolutely. So let's go back, if you don't mind, real quick, because there's a couple of things we need to cover about this. Okay, so security is a big thing, right? So we already secure the Vault, but there's a couple other things you should do to make sure everything's really secure. When you have your myveeam.com, you can go into the settings and actually turn on MFA. So I would recommend that you turn on MFA in myveeam.com. Also, like we talked about, encryption has to be turned on, but really a good deployment, is everything has to be deployed. It's not enough to have Vault. Having Vault will help a whole lot, but you really need to make sure that you work on, trying to secure your VBR server and your on-prem stuff. So if you need help with that, I myself have created quite a few blueprints that talk about how to shameless plug. I know we're not supposed to do this on the community stuff, Madalena, but I'm overruling, right? So I'm plugging my security blueprints. If you go to the community.com and look for security blueprints, like for how to 1,000 VMs, you get sizing information on there, but we'll also have the last page has some security best practices that we recommend. Things like using MFA, using 4 eyes, making sure that no third-party accounts or processes are running on Veeam server, closing ports. So we can help you secure your environment from on-prem all the way into the cloud, right? And then you have that nice secure cloud package up there that you can't screw up when you set it up right properly, because it's already done right out of the box.
Well, we really appreciate all of the information that you guys have brought to the table today. I'm sure we will have more questions that come through. Definitely come into the community hub to ask these questions, because these guys literally live there all day long and are willing to answer pretty much any one of your questions. But before we wrap up here, Stephen, do you have any closing comments or thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
Yeah, so the biggest closing comment that I could leave this session with is ZTDR, Zero Trust Data Resilience. So
awesome.
Yeah, that is what I'm going to go with.
More
That's actually
acronyms.
fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much, guys, for all that. Joe, I'm sure you have some final thoughts as well. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Just remember, whenever you're setting up your retention on your immutable repositories, that you keep the your retention period and your mutability period in mind, right? Your mutability period, you don't want longer than your retention period because bad things happen that way, right? And make sure that you encrypt all your backups.
Perfect. And yeah, going back to your idea, Corinne, actually, on this topic on the VDC and the Vault, we're going to hear more on it. And I'm sure this is not going to be the last Veeam 100 show where we're going to have discussions around the topic. But before that happens, there is a series right now at the Community Hub under the Cloud City thematic group. It's every month, last week of the month, with the leader in there, Heen and Michael Paul. So just keep an eye, as you said, on the veeamcommunity.com. And just want to say thank you once again for this great discussion. It was really great to have you in the show. And just big thank you to our community and to our audience for tuning in today. And I do hope I get to see everyone at VeeamON this April, this month, 21st to 23rd of April. Yeah, if you're there, just drop us a text. Let us know in the comments. We'd like to see you there. And don't forget, we'll see you in May with a brand new episode of the Veeam 100 show.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thanks.